Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kami dari kelompok 2 akan mempresentasikan chapter 5 dan chapter 6. Chapter 5 akan disampaikan saya dan Mbak Nadia. Kita akan membahas tentang creating long term loyalty relationship, yang akan saya bahas beberapa poin. Yang pertama, building customer value, satisfaction, and loyalty.
Nah, dari gambar ini kita melihat ada dua organisasi, perbandingan dua organisasi, traditional organization, based customer oriented organization. Nah, tentunya kalau kita melihat yang kiri ini top manajemen masih di atas, tapi kalau kita melihat yang sebelah kanan, yang modern, ini top manajemen sudah di bagian yang paling bawah. Artinya apa? Bahwa pelanggan yang terpenting adalah orang-orang garis depan yang bertemu, yang melayani, dan memuaskan mereka. Kemudian di bawahnya ada manajemen menengah yang tugasnya mendukung orang-orang di garis depan, sehingga mereka dapat melayani pelanggan dengan baik. Dan pada akhirnya ada manajemen puncak yang tugasnya adalah untuk memperkenalkan dan mendukung manajer menengah yang baik. Pelanggan di sepanjang sisi, customer di sepanjang sisi menunjukkan bahwa manajer di setiap tingkat harus secara pribadi mengalami atau mengetahui, bertemu dan melayani pelanggan. Artinya dari semua frontline people, kemudian middle management, kemudian top management harus juga melayani customer. Slide selanjutnya tentang determinant of customer perceived value. Customer perceived value menentukan nilai. Jadi ada dua, yang pertama total customer benefit, kemudian total customer cost. Nah, customer benefit ini adalah nilai moneter yang dirasakan dari kumpulan keuntungan ekonomi yang diharapkan dari pelanggan, dari penawaran pasar tertentu, misalnya dari produk benefit, service benefit, kemudian personal benefit, kemudian image benefit atau citra produk. Kemudian kalau total customer cost adalah kumpulan biaya yang diharapkan oleh penghasil dalam mengevaluasi dan menerapkan penawaran pasar yang diberikan. Artinya termasuk monetary cost, kemudian termasuk team cost, energy cost, dan psychological cost. Selanjutnya, applying value konsep, menerapkan konsep nilai. Jadi untuk menerapkan konsep nilai kita ada beberapa cara atau beberapa analis. Yang pertama, for the first, A, identify the major attributes and benefits that customers value. B, assess the quantitative importance of the different attributes and benefits. C, assess the companies and competitors' performance on the different customers' value against their greatest importance. D, examine how customers in a specific segment rate the company's performance against a specific major competitor on individual attribute or benefit basis. And the last, monitor customer value over time. Next slide. Choice process and implication. Menerapkan proses dan nilai. Tentunya beberapa pembasar mungkin berpendapat bahwa proses yang telah kita jelaskan terlalu rasional. Kita contohkan dalam buku ini bahwa ketika kita memilih traktor Komatsu, bagaimana kita menjelaskan kita memilih produk tersebut. For the first, A, the buyer might be under orders to buy at the low price. B, the buyer will retire before the company realizes the Komatsu tractor is more expensive to operate. C, the buyer enjoys a long time friendship with the Komatsu salesperson. Artinya bahwa pembeli ini berproses dengan berbagai kendala dan membuat pilihan yang memberi bobot pada keuntungan pribadi mereka sendiri. Dan slide selanjutnya, delivering high customer value, memberikan nilai pelanggan yang tinggi. Kita akan menjelaskan tentang loyalty, a deeply held commitment to rebuy or patronize a preferred product or service in the future despite situational influence and marketing efforts having the potential to cause switching behavior. Next. Inti dari sistem pengiriman nilai yang baik adalah serangkaian proses bisnis yang membantu memberikan nilai konsumen yang khas. Kalau kita melihat pada gambar berikut bahwa ketika kita memilih barang, value proposition, core proposition is safety, other benefits, good performance, design, and environmentally friendly. Slide selanjutnya, total customer satisfaction. Satisfaction is a person's feelings of pleasure or disappointment that result from comparing a product perceived performance to or outcome to expectation. Artinya bahwa kinerja atau pengalaman tidak sesuai harapan, pelanggan tidak puas. Jika sesuai harapan, customer sudah puas. Jika melebihi ekspektasi, pelanggan sangat puas dan senang. Slide selanjutnya, monitoring satisfaction, memantau kepuasan. Dari beberapa cara, ada 2 cara, measurement technique. Sebetulnya banyak perusahaan secara sistematis mengukur seberapa baik mereka memperlakukan pelanggan, mengidentifikasi faktor-faktor yang membentuk kepuasan dan mengubah operasi dan pemasaran sebagai hasilnya. Teknik yang pertama pengukuran adalah Can-be surveys, customer loss rate, mystery shopper. Kemudian bisa juga influence of customer satisfaction. For the first, customer satisfaction, speed of communication. And that's all of me. And that's all from me. Will be followed by Nadia.
Okay, thank you. Next. Share screen, Mas. Okay, thank you. Next, quality of product and service. Satisfaction also depends on the quality of products and service. Quality is the totality of features and characteristics of products and service that depends on their ability to satisfy stated or implied needs. Next, the impact of quality, product and service quality, customer satisfaction, and company profitability are 3 things that are closely related. The higher the quality level, the higher the resulting level of customer satisfaction, which supports higher prices and lower costs. Companies that lower their cost too far will suffer the consequence when the quality of the customer experience deteriorates. Next, total quality. First, they have the primary responsibility for correctly identifying customer needs and requirements. Second, they must communicate exactly what their customers expect to the product designer. Third, they must ensure the customer order are filed precisely and on schedule. Fourth, they must check that the customer is receiving the correct instruction, training, and technical assistance in the use of the product. 5. They must keep in touch with the customers after the sale to ensure that they are satisfaction and remain satisfied. 6. They must collect customer IDs about product and service improvements and channel this ID to the appropriate department. When markets do all of this, they make an important contribution to total quality management and customer satisfaction, as well as customer and company profitability. Next, maximizing customers' life value. Ultimately, marketing is the art of attraction and retaining profitable customers. The biggest customers don't always generate the highest returns. The biggest customers can demand good service and get the biggest discount. The small customers pay full price and receive minimal service, but the cost of transacting with them can reduce their profitability. Medium-sized customers who receive excellent service and pay the full mixed price often benefit most. Next, customer profitability. A profitable customer is a person, household, or company that over time generates an income stream that exceeds the company tolerable cost flow amount to attract, sell, and serve that customers. Next, customer profitability analysis. Analysis is best done with an accounting tool called activity-based costing. The company estimates all revenue it gets from customers minus all expenses. When the company does this for each customer, the company can classify the customer into profit groups, platinum customers, gold customers, iron customers, and lead customers. Next, measuring customers' life value. Customers' life value describes the net present value of the expected future profit flow over the customer's lifetime. Customer lifetimes per case. The company must deduct from the expected cost throughout the customer's lifetime per case. The company must deduct from the expected cost by applying the appropriate discount rate. Lifetime value calculating for a product or service can be in the tens of thousands of dollars or even up to 6 digits. There are many methods of measuring a customer's lifetime value. Next, attracting and maintaining customer. Company trying to increase their profit and sales must spend a lot of time and resources finding new customers. Advertisement is the media that will reach new prospects, send out direct mail, and make phone calls to potential new leads by name from listing brokers and so on. Next, reduce defection. Even so, companies are not enough. new customers, companies must retain them and increase their business to reduce this attrition rate the company. Number one, define and measure its retention rate. Number two, distinguish customer costs and identifying customers who can be managed well. And number three, compare the loss profit multiplied by the lifetime value of the customers of the lost customer against to cost to reduce the turnover rate. Next, retention dynamics. Satisfaction customers from the capital of company's customer relationship. If the company is sold, the acquirer pays not only the plant and equipment and brand name, but also the customer base delivered, as well as the number and value of customer who will do business with the new company. Here are some interest facts that support customer retention. Acquiring new customer that can cost 5 times as much. The average company lost 10% of its customer each year. 5% reduction in customer switching rate can increase profit by 25% until 18.5%. The customer profit rate tends to increase over the life of the retaining customer. Next, building loyalty. Creating strong and close customer relationship is the dream of all marketers, and this is often the key to long-term marketing success. A group of research looked at building retention by adding financial benefit, social benefit, or structural ties. The following subsection describe 4 types of marketing activities that company can use to increase loyalty and retention. Next, interact closely with customer. Some companies create ongoing mechanism that allow senior managers to stay in touch with frontline customer feedback. MBNA, the credit card giant, as all includes listening to telephone conversation in the customer service area or customer recovery unit. Deere and Company, who make John Deere tractors and have an impressive record of customer loyalty. Chicken of the Sea has 1,800 members in its Mermaid Club, the core group of customers who get coupons and special offers. Next, develop loyalty program. To customer loyalty program, companies can offer our frequency programs and club marketing program. The frequency program is designed to reward customers who buy frequently in bulk. Generally, companies' introduction frequency program in the industry get the most benefit, especially if competitors are slow to respond. After competitors respond, a frequency program can become a financial burden for all companies that offer it, but some companies are more efficient and creative in management frequency program. Next, create institutional ties. Create institutional ties. Companies can enter customers with specialist equipment or computer connections with the help of customer managing order, studies, and inventory. Customers are less persuaded to switch to other income if the switch involves high capital costs, high research costs, or less loyal customer discount. Next, win back. Regardless of the nature of the category or how hard a company can try, we cannot prevent some customers from being inactive or leaving. The challenge is to reactivate this dissatisfied customer through a winning strategy. The key is to analyze the cause of the customer distraction to interviews at the time the customer left and survey the lost customer, and only try to win back those with a strong profit potential. Next, personalize the marketing. Corporate personnel can create strong bonds with customers through individualization and relationship personalization. In essence, companies that turn their smart customers into clients. One difference that work is the institution may not to know the name of the customer, but the company must know the name of the client. Customers are served as part of the mass or part of a larger segment, and are served on an individual basis. Customers are served by all who happen to be clients who are served by professionals assigned to them exclusively. The right ingredients that play an important role in marketing. That the best relationships today are the right technology. Companies use email, website, call center, database, and database software to develop ongoing contact between the company and customers. Yes, thank you. I think enough. This is our group.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I will presentation about chapter 6 chapter about analyzing consumer markets. First, what influences consumer behavior? Consumer behavior is the study of individuals, group, and organization select by use and dispose of goods, service, ideas, or experience to satisfy their needs and wants. Consumer behavior was influenced by cultural, social, and personal factors. First, what is the culture? Culture is the fundamental determinant of a person's wants and behaviors acquired through socialization processes with family and other key institutions. Culture, subculture, and social class are particularly important influences on consumer buying behavior. Through family and other key institutions, a child growing up in the United States is exposed to values such as achievement and success, activity, efficiency, another. Virtually, all human societies exhibit social stratification, most often in the form of social classes, relatively homogeneous and enduring division in a society, hierarchically ordered and with members who share similar values, interests, and behavior. One classic depiction of social classes in the United States defines 7 ascending levels. The first level is lower lowers. The second level is upper lowers. The third is working class. The fourth, middle class. The fifth, upper middles. The sixth, lower uppers. And the last one is upper uppers. The next is social factor. In addition to cultural factors, social factors such as reference groups, family, and social roles, and the last is role and status. First is reference group. Reference group. A person reference group are all the groups that have a direct face-to-face or face-to-face or indirect influence on their attitudes or behavior. Groups having a direct influence are called membership groups. If the primary groups with whom the person interacts very continuously and informally, such as family, friends, neighbors, and coworkers. People also belong to secondary groups, such as religious, professional, and trade union groups, which tend to be more formal and require less continuous interaction. The second is from reference group. The second is aspirational group. Aspirational groups are a person hopes to join. Kemudian, next, dissociative groups are those whose values or behavior an individual rejects. Next, an opinion leader is the person who offers informal advice or information about a special product or product category, such as which of several brands is the best or how a particular product may be used. Next, cliques. The cliques is a cliques. There is a communication disease purpose a social structure view of interpersonal communication. They see society consisting of cliques, small groups whose members interact frequently. And this openness is helped along by people who function as liaison and connect two or more cliques without belonging to either, and by bridge, people who belong to one clique and are linked to a person in another. Next is, of course, much word of mouth if offline person-to-person communicated face-to-face or over the phone, like this. Next is family. The family is the most important consumer buying organization in the society, and family members constitute the most influential primary reference group. Next, the family orientation consists of parents and siblings. Next, From parents, a person acquires an orientation toward religion, politics, and economic, and a sense of personal ambition, self-worth, and love. Even if the buyer no longer interacts very much with his or her parents, parental influence or behavior can be significant, and a more direct influence or everyday buying behavior is family or pro presentation, namely the person's spouse and children. In United States, in a traditional husband-wife relationship, engagement in purchase has variety widely per product category. The next is roles and status. A role consists of the activities a person is expected to perform. Each role in the turn and can in the turn connotes a status. A senior vice president of marketing may have more status sale than a sales manager, and the role and their actual or desired status in society. Marketers must be aware the status symbol potential of product and brands. A personal factor. Personal factor, a characteristic that influence a buyer decision include age and stage in the life cycle, occupation, and economic circumstance, personality and self-concept, and lifestyle and values. Because many of these have a direct impact on consumer behavior, it is for marketers marketers to follow them closely. The first personal factor is age. Age or stage in life cycle. Our taste in food, clothes, furniture, and recreation is often related uh, to our age. Consumption is also shaped by the family life cycle and number, age, and gender of people in the household at any point in time. Next, in additional, physiological life cycle stage may matter. Adults experience certain passages of or transmission as they go through life. Their behavior during this interval, such as when becoming a parent, is not necessarily fixed but changes with the times. Next, there is an occupation and economic circumstance. Occupation and economic circumstance. Occupation also influence consumption patterns. Marketers try to identify the occupational groups that have above average interest in their product and service, and even tailor product for certain occupational groups. As the recent prolonged recession clearly indicated, both product and brand choice are greatly affected by economic circumstance like spendable income or level stability and pattern over time. Next, saving an asset, including the percentage that is liquid, debts, debts, borrowing power, and attitudes towards spending and saving. The next is personality and self-concept. We mean a set of distinguishing human physiological traits that lead to relative consistent and enduring response to environmental stimuli, including buying behavior. Brands also have personalities, and consumers are likely to choose the brand whose personalities match their own. We define brand personality as the specific mix of human traits that we can attribute to a particular brand. Next is mm, next. A consumer often choose and use brands with a brand personality consistent with their actual self-concept or how we view ourselves. Talk the match my instead he based on consumer ideal self-concept. Finally, aspect of self might often be evoked differently in different situations or around different types of people. The next is lifestyle and values. People from the same subculture, social class, and occupation may adopt quite different lifestyle. A lifestyle is a person's pattern of living in the world as expressed in activities, interests, and opinions. It portrays the whole person interacting with his or her environment. Mm, Consumers who experience time famine are prone to multitasking, doing two or more things at the same time. They will also pay others to perform tasks because time is more important to them than money. In some categories, notably food processing companies targeting time-constrained consumer need to be aware that these very same people want to believe they are not operating within time constraints. Next is key physiological process. First is motivation. The second is perception. The third is learning. The fourth emotion, and the last is memories. Mm, uh, Motivation. We all have many needs at any given time. Some needs are euphonic. They arise from physiological states of tension, such as hunger, thirst, or discomfort. Other needs are psychogenic, are arise from psychological states of tension, such as need for recognition, esteem, or belonging. First is theory. Theory of motivation. The first is Freud's theory. Freud's theory. Sigmund Freud assumed the physiological force shaping people behavior are large are largely unconscious and that a person cannot fully understand his or her own motivation. Someone who examines specific brands will read not only to their staff capabilities but also to other less concession such as shape, size, weight, material color, and brand name. The second theory is Maslow theories. Abraham Maslow sought to explain why people are driven by particular needs at at the times at particular times. His answer is that human needs are arranged in a hierarchy from most to least pressing, from physiological needs to safety needs, social needs, esteem needs, and self-actuality needs. Next, third theory is Hesburgh theory. Frederick Hesburgh developed a two-factor theory that distinguishes dissatisfiers from satisfiers. Nah, the absence of dissatisfiers is not enough to motivate a purchase. Satisfiers must be present. For example, a computer that does not come with warranty is a dissatisfier. Yet the presence of a product warranty does not act as a satisfier or motivator of a purchase because it is not source of intrinsic satisfiers. Next is perception. Perception is the process by which we select, organize, and interpret information inputs to create a meaningful picture of the world. Consumer perceives many different kinds of information through their senses, as referred in Marketing Memo, The Power of Sensory Marketing. The Power of Sensory Marketing, based on Krishna Review or academic research in psychology and marketing, we next highlight some key considerations for each of the five senses. First is touch, the second is smell, the third is sound, the fourth is taste, and the fifth is vision. Next, there is model of consumer behavior. The first is marketing stimuli. There are product and service, price, distribution, and communication. In other stimuli, there are economic, technological, political, and culture. Next, on consumer physiology and consumer characteristic, there is a motivation, perception, learning, and memory. Next, a consumer characteristic is culture, social, and personal. Um, Next, buying decision process is problem recognition and information search, evaluation of alternative, purchase decision, post-purchase behavior. And the last one is purchasing decision. This is there is product choice, brand choice, dealer choice, purchase amount, purchase timing, and payment methods. First is learning. Nah, now I will try to explain selective attention. Selective attention is selective attention means that marketers must work hard to attract consumer notice. The real challenge is to explain which stimuli people will notice. Here are some findings. First, people are more likely to notice stimuli that relate to a current need. Second, people are more likely to notice stimuli they anticipate. Third, people are more likely to notice stimuli whose deviations are large in relationship to the normal size of the stimuli. Next, selective retention. Most of us don't remember much of the information to which we're exposed, but sorry, but we do retain information that support our attitudes and beliefs. Because of selection repetition, we're likely to remember good points about a product we like and forget good points about competing product. Next, selective distortion. Selective distortion is the tendency to interpret information in a way that fits our perception. And subliminal perception. This is subliminal perception has long fascinated our MC markets, who argue that markets embed convert subliminal message in ads or packaging. The next is learning. This is learning includes change in our behavior arising from experience. Most human behavior is learned. That much learning is incidental. Learning induces change in our behavior, drive and cause generalization and discrimination. The next is emotion. Emotion consumer response is not all cognitive and rational. Much might be emotional and invoke different kinds of feelings. Many different kinds of emotional can be linked to brains. A classic example is Unilever's X brain. Next is memory. Cognitive psychology distinguishes between short-term memory, a temporary and limited repository of information, and long-term memory uh, is a more permanent, essential, and unlimited repository. And there is memory process. Memory is very constructive process because we don't remember information and events completely and accurately. This is memory encoding describe how and where information gets into memory.
Okay, the buying decision process. The consumer typically pass through 5 stages. When you come to the buying decision process, it involves 5 stages. And the first one is problem recognition, that one has to recognize what the problem is. First, we need to know what the problems are in order to find solutions. So the first stage is problem recognition. Then the second one, information search. Now, after recognizing what the problem is, then you can go further and look for information, search for information that will help us to deal with the problem. And the next one is evaluation of alternatives. So to continue, the third one, after first finding the problem, what the problem is, we know the problem. Now we find information to deal with the problem. Now the third one involves evaluation of alternatives, because thereby we will have some alternatives to choose on. Then we're going to evaluate which one is the best one, the best options, then go in for that one. And fourth, which is D, purchase decision. Now we will arrive to a decision to make purchase. That is to buy whatever we need to buy. In another word, the final one is post-purchase behavior. Problem recognition. The buyer recognize a problem need triggered by internal or external stimuli, under which we have information search. The first one is personal sources, commercial sources, public sources, and experiential sources. These are the four information search on the information side. Personal deals about you yourself. the set involved in decision making. We have the total set, then awareness set, consideration set, choice set, and decision. So on the total set, example we have Apple, Dell, Hewlett Packard, Toshiba, Compaq, and NEC. On the awareness set, Apple, Dell, Hewlett Packard, Toshiba, Compaq. On the consideration set, we have Apple, Dell, and Toshiba. On the choice set, we have Apple, Dell. Then we find the decision. On the purchase decision, we have the conjunctive heuristic, and we have lexicographic heuristic, then elimination by aspect heuristic. These are the three on the purchase decisions that we look at. Next, we now look at the intervening factors. Yeah, under it, we start with the evaluation of alternatives. After evaluating the alternatives that we have in hand, then we can reach on to a decision where to make purchase. That is the purchase intention, having the purchase intention. From it, there are two options. That's the first one is attitude of others, while the other one is unanticipated situational factors. Then whereby you reach to the purchase decision, which is the final one on the intervening factors. Next. Type of perceived risks. Under it, we have functional risks, physical risks, financial risks, time risks, psychological risks, and social risks. Under customers' products use or dispose, first we have the product. We talk about the product, which is subdivided into three. The first one is get rid of it temporarily, get rid of it permanently, and keep it. When we say get rid of it temporarily, it means you remove it for a meantime, for a while, temporarily. While get rid of it permanently is to remove it all that you may not be able to recover again. To erase it, eradicate it from your computer or whatsoever that you are using. And then the third one is to keep it, that is to keep hold of it and not letting it go. So on the keep it is also divided into three, where you have the use it to serve original purpose, use the product to serve original purpose, or convert it to serve a new purpose, meaning to change it and then so that you can serve it as a new purpose, or you may decide to store it. These are the three under keep it. If you decide to keep the product, you either use it to serve original purpose, what it is being made for, that is the original purpose, or
Sorry.
Or you convert it to serve a new purpose, that is to use it for another purpose different from its original purpose, or to store it. And then on the get rid of it temporarily, you have it's divided into two, which is to rent it or to lend it. To rent it in a case whereby somebody may to give it out, that is to let it, or you lend it yourself, you go for it to lend it. Either you give it out through lend, or you rent it. Somebody takes and pay you money for it. That is get rid of it temporarily. And on the get rid of it permanently, is divided into 4. One, give it away. That's just to give it away without making any payment, receiving any payment, just kindly give it out. 2, trade it. That involves trade, buying and selling. 3, to sell it. That is to sell. And 4, throw it away. That is to throw it away, whereby you don't need it and then you decided to just send it out. And then if you look at sell it, it is also divided into 3. You have direct to consumers, that is to sell it directly to the consumers, or through the middleman. And the middleman, those are the wholesaler or the agents, as well as the retailers. Those are the middlemen, or through the intermediary. That those are people in between that will mediate between the seller and then the buyer. On the give it away or throw it. Sorry.
Have
Yes.
you finished? Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Give it away or trade it. You have 1, to be sold or resold. That is to sell it again, or to be used. That is to use it. These are the consumers product use or dispose. Next. Moderating effects on consumer decision making. Under it, we will be looking at 2 main aspects. That is the law and the variety. Under law, we have involvement consumer decision making. Involvement consumer decision making. And then variety, you have seeking buying behavior. These are the 2 under moderating effects on consumer decision making. Next. Behavior economics. Under this one, we'll be looking at 2 aspects, main aspects. The first one will be farming, and under it we have mental accounting, while the other one will be looking at decision heuristics, and under it we have availability heuristic, representativeness heuristic, anchoring, and adjustment heuristic. Next. Yes, to explain it, under mental accounting, consumers tend to segregate gains, integrate losses, integrate small losses with large gains, segregate small gains from large losses. Now, when we say integrate losses, we mean like to bring losses together. And to integrate small losses with larger gains, like comparing and bringing them together, that is the small loss as well as the gains. While segregate here is talking about trying to separate them or differentiate them. Example, this one in small gains from large gains, that is to differentiate or separate the small gains from large gains. Segregate small gains from large gains, we are talking about to separate them, the small gains from the large losses. While integrated, we are talking about bringing them together. So bringing the losses together, or the small losses with large gain.